Hey, what's up? Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No, I'm just kidding. Hey, what's up? It's Matt Plapp. And of course, we're live. Today, we're going to go live and alive, and we're going to talk about how you can do live videos, why you should do live videos, some of the key elements to doing them and not, and how to make a difference. But more importantly, we're actually going to dig into a client's live video stats and show you some things he's doing right, some things I think I would improve if I was him. One, consistency. But we're also going to show you a lot of ways that you can make an impact on your business with these. So a couple seconds, make sure I got my screens right. Doug, we all good? We're all good. I'm getting the thumbs up that we're all good everywhere. Doug's way back there in the back, about 16 feet away. He doesn't trust me. So let's talk about live video. Let's talk about why. Number one, it's free. Guess what it costs to do a live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Periscope, and Twitter? 4 places I'm live right now. Free. And guess what? I'll end up getting thousands of eyes on this, and I'll end up getting content that I can use in multiple ways. You can do the same. We're going to talk about restaurant owners today specifically, and I'm going to talk about the first things that I think you need to do a live. So I'm going to show you a quick list, and we're going to walk through this second part. So I want you to think about this second part first. Number one, lighting. You notice I have a light. You can tell it. Let me show you the difference. Let me reach back here and grab without knocking anything down, grab the switch. You can see a difference. Now, this actually doesn't look terrible, but it depends on the device they're looking at. But this can make a big difference, especially if you're a restaurant doing food. So let me turn the light back on. And there you go. You can tell. And sometimes there's too much light. Like I've noticed this thing's a little close, might be a little bright, but lighting is key. Here's another one. And I'm going to show you the gear that I'm using, but this is a smaller version of what I have up. I have a big box light. This is a small ring light that does a good job. You can see it mimics my face, so it lights my face. So lighting is a big one. Second one's audio, the microphone. Right now, I'm just using my laptop microphone. It usually works pretty good when I'm in an environment without a lot of noise. My vent just kicked on back here. Sometimes that plays a little part in it. But if you're in a restaurant, you have to know your environment. And so one of the cool things you can use, let me unshare my screen and show you this. It's called a Rode mic. And I'm going to show you how I do these on my phone. And I'm going to show you this on Amazon as well. It plugs in to the end of my phone. And it's a microphone. Now, what's cool about this microphone is that the negative when you're doing live videos on a phone is when you switch the camera around. So here's a trick also on my phone at least. If I go and shoot a video pre-recorded and I record, and I'm recording right now, I don't know of a way to change the camera angle. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know what this button does here, but I don't think you can because it's recording this camera right here. Whereas when you're live on Facebook, you can do it on the fly. So if I'm live on a page, you'll see in a minute, I can change the camera angle, looking at me, selfie, or looking at something. But why this is important is if I'm wanting to hear myself talk, the microphone on a phone goes where the camera goes. So I don't know where it's built in or how it's done. That's a lot smarter audience than me. But if I'm shooting facing myself, the microphone's facing Matt Plapp. If I'm shooting facing that way, the microphone goes that way. And you'll notice a difference in your audio. Now, this is on an iPhone. Some of your other phones might be different. What this does, this is called, I call it a Rode. I don't know if it's Rode. It's a little shotgun mic. And what this does is it keeps the audio coming at me. My microphone, no matter where the camera's at, is coming right at me. It allows me to talk, and it follows me. That way my voice doesn't get bad. But at the same time, if you're interviewing somebody, maybe your chef, same thing. And what's cool about this also is it's got a fail-safe. You got a little plug here. You can put your headphones in, and you can say you're videotaping your chef about today's dish, which you should be. You can put the headphones in here, and you can film them, and you can hear them talking. So you're like, yeah, audio is good. Okay, that's a key element. Next one, tripods. And I'm going to show you a couple more. I'm going to go live on this page on here, and I'm going to walk you through a couple things. Next one, tripods. I forgot to put this on my list of gear you need, but you got a couple different options. This is a simple one. Literally, I think these are $10. And you can put the phone on here and it holds it steady. Now, one thing too, people think that video has to be perfect. Facebook and a lot of the platforms don't want your content perfect. They don't like how I have banners here and that kind of stuff because it's more marketing than it is organic. So a lot of times you don't need to worry about this stuff. And you actually want to have it to where there might be a little wobbly, but you don't want to have it too crazy. And plus, phones are cumbersome. It's harder for me to hold this phone like this and go live for 4 or 5 minutes than it is for me to hold this or set this down somewhere and have a conversation. Now that we're talking about tripods, I want to show you this tripod and what the difference is. And you can kind of see, obviously it looks a lot different, and it was about 50 bucks, I think. But the thing I like about this tripod is this allows me to change the angle, because you know what people don't want to look at? They don't want to look up your nose. And a lot of people have a tendency of doing videos down here, and they're like, hey, what's going on at my restaurant? Hey, this is my nose, and oh, what's in there? This allows you to get the right angle. And so what you want to think about, if you notice on the video I'm doing now, my eyes are in the top 1/3 of the video. That's what ideally you want. You want to have your head up here. I don't want to be down here. You want to be up here. So you want to have your head up there. This allows you to do it. Plus, this thing actually will let you do a lot of stuff. You know, it goes a lot higher. You can do selfie things. You can do a lot of cool stuff. So cool little device. And again, none of this is expensive. The light that I've got in front of me here is about 30 bucks. That light, Doug, what'd you pay for that little light, that ring light?
What I paid for it?
Yeah.
It was like 20 bucks.
20 bucks. This thing was like 10. This thing I think was 35 or 40, probably the most expensive thing in here on video besides my laptop. Okay, so let's get into shooting a live, and then I'm gonna come back to my list and I'm gonna show you some examples. So what you're gonna do, number one, I've got a fake page here, and I'm gonna share the link to this video so you can kind of see it, because I'm gonna walk around my office, show you a couple other items I've got up there. You're gonna go to publish, and this is on Facebook. Now every platform's different. And you're going to see on publish that little thing live there. Before I do this, I like to type something out. And I like to have a description of what I'm going to talk about, because if you saw this live or you're watching it now, there should have been a description of what I was going to do. And maybe list it out, and maybe a call to action, and maybe a link to go somewhere. So I'm going to say test video. Comment if you saw this. And I'm going to put a link in this video later on, and maybe you can go down there and check it and comment. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do live video. And it's going to open up and you can see. Now, there's a couple things I'm going to want you to pay attention to here. The iPhone is a little different. That a lot of times when you do the selfie mode, it reverses things. So my hand is on this side, but it should be on that side. And so you can change that up. Now, let me go here in the bottom of the iPhone, and I go to this little wand. And this wand should open up a window. And then there's a toolbar down here, a little tool. And you can flip the screen around. You can see that. So if I flip it, it's now going to have the stuff that's at me. You can see there's Matt's goals. Number 1, Europe trip 2021. If I change it, now backwards because it's in selfie mode. So that's a cool thing. So I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to go also back to my tools. Now I get out my tools. Let me go back to the star here. You can do some funny stuff too. Don't be afraid to do funny stuff. You got all sorts of filters you can put on here that you can add, all that good stuff. So I'm going to get out of that. I'm going to get out of my tools. I'm going to go back. Now to go live, I'm simply going to click this button. Now, the key element when going live also is to, afterwards, I'm going to show you. So you can see, let's do this. Let me share my screen. Let me go over here and share this screen. Let me refresh this page, because we're going to watch my live on a live. First ever world premiere live on a live. And I'm going to use my tripod. Okay. I appreciate you watching. And if you're enjoying this, if you're getting some value, let me know. If this is something that you're doing for your restaurant, you're doing for your agency. There we go. Okay, so here I am. So I'm going to get this bigger. Let me refresh this page because we're going to watch my live. Okay, turn my audio off there. So there we are. We're live. There I am. Hey, what's going on? Now, it's probably going to be like 5 or 10 seconds behind, so I apologize. And you're going to lose my audio for a second because I'm going to walk up and show you a few things. I'm just going to point to them. I don't think it will, you'll hear me. I don't know. Doug, can you hear me on my live on me and on Joe's? So if I turn off my audio here, this is one thing that's new to me. I don't know if this is possible. If I turn with that, let's just go this way. So I'm not going to talk for the next couple of seconds, but I'm going to come back and tell you what I've got. So here's my light. My light I'm talking. There's my ring light that I use for right here. Or not ring light, box light. You can see it's probably a little close to me. It does get a little blinding, but it does the job. So now I'm going to walk up and show you a couple of things, a couple of tripods, and also how to set the scene and show you the difference that window lighting can make. And I want you to look at the lighting on the back of the shelf versus the front. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back. Doug, can you hear me again? Might be a little delayed actually on your end. So I'm going to assume that Doug can hear me. So I'm back, and what I showed you up there are a few things that we have. Number one, it's kind of funny when I'm talking right now, the video on the live is behind on Facebook. I showed you a couple different tripod options. One's a tripod I got at Best Buy for like 30 bucks. And the very top of the tripods have attachments. I'm gonna go big with myself and get rid of the shared screen. There we go. So the one thing I showed you was this. Let me actually turn this live off. Let me do that real quick. Let me come back to this. So when I go to my live, I'm gonna turn it off. I click finish. Now you got a couple options on here. Now you don't want to delete, obviously, unless you're testing. You want to post it. But before you post it, a couple things. I always make sure that in this top corner that HD is on. You can see it says HD off. I want to make sure HD upload is on. Not real sure why they make you do that or what the concept is there, but it is what it is. Number two, you see this little box, that little box right there with an arrow. This is on an iPhone. I think a lot of phones have it. I'm going to hit that. And what that's going to do is that's going to save the live video to my camera roll. So I'm going to go ahead and post this. And the reason I'm saving that to my camera roll is when I show you, that video is now in my camera roll. And what you can do is you can take that and distribute that content other places. Let me turn something off over here. Matt's over here talking on my other computer screen, kind of distracting when you see yourself yipping. There we go. See you, Matt. You're out of here. Okay. So that allows you to download that video and put it in the camera. And I see Bill Herlosky on my Facebook. Love it. I just did the exact training for a client who was crushing it with lives. Bill, that's why I'm doing this video. I saw your post in our private group this morning, and I'm like, that's great. So are you mirroring your screen on your TV? Oscar, right now I have a different screen open on a different TV so I can see what I'm doing in this app. But yes. So what I showed up front was, number one, I showed you the back of that bar and I showed you the front. The front of the bar has picture windows. The back of it is here. And so you can see the difference that natural light can play. So if you have a restaurant, if you have a business that has glass, has windows with some good lighting, those are great to use to come on your face as far as the lighting coming directly onto the front of what you're shooting. And that allows you to have a much wider and have less washout, have less places like this right here. If I were to move over here, it's going to change, or I'm could be darker. You can see I'm darker on this side of my face than I am here. because that light. When you do that in front of a window like that, you don't get that. And so that's a really key element. The next thing I showed you up there was I showed you this. This was on top of like a $20, $30 tripod I got from Best Buy. Tripods come with these little attachments like this. You can get these little attachments. Like all this is the top of this thing taken off and screwed into this. And so it's got a little screw on there that you can screw into it. And the other one I showed you was a attachment that goes onto an iPad. And so I have an attachment with a bendy arm that goes on an iPad. So I can film from an iPad. I can film from this thing. I can film from this. These are all items you should have in your restaurant. You should be encouraging your employees to create content. If you want to go to Instagram or Facebook stories and look up King Euros in Columbus, Ohio, Yanni and his team do a lot of live video. And their staff creates it as well as Yanni. So there's a lot of people that create the content. Okay, next. Let's talk about the actual video. So let's go back to my tips. Let me share my screen. Okay, so you can see my screen. Wish I was zoomed in a little more. Let me see if I can zoom it in a little more. 150 maybe. There we go. This to go up. Okay. So Matt's live video tip. So let's walk through these items, and I'm going to show you some things. So we go to gear and planning. We talked about lighting. We talked about mics. You can do a lapel mic as well, or you don't have to have a complete microphone if you don't have a big noise issue. Scenery. Have something that is visually appealing. Do not have don't be in a storage closet, a gray wall. If you're a restaurant, guess what's visually appealing? Your freaking food. Or if you're like, let's say, Quaker Steak and Lube in Florence, the Corvette on the ceiling, things like that. You've got the atmosphere. Use it. You can see I've got a cool giant bookshelf that looks really neat. I've got a fake bar up front we can do videos with. My house, I spent about, I don't know, a couple $100 at Florence Antique Mall and bought some antique restaurant stuff to put on the wall if you ever see my videos there. If you want to see something also on the lighting, I'm going to give you a thing on this. Shameless plug. MPTV episode 4, which aired last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, new episode with a restaurant operator. We interviewed Nabi David. And Nabi's restaurant where we set up at, it's a casual dining sports bar. Well, I wouldn't say sports bar, sports-oriented restaurant. And where we set up at, there wasn't lighting. It's meant to be set the mood. The window shades were down. We had our lights like this. But if you look at the main angle of Nabi and I talking, both of us, you can tell the lighting. If you look at the angle of just Nabi talking, you can see the shadows coming in because there wasn't enough coverage on him. So that's one thing on lighting. Scenery we talked about. Gear and planning, the last thing, schedule and market your live seminars. Kind of ironic. Like you can't make this stuff up. When I'm preparing for this video, which wasn't scheduled, I do a lot of things off the cusp. I got an email from Pizzeria Locale about how this Saturday they're going to do a virtual dough and scratch class, which no clue what that is, but I'm going to tune in 10 a.m. Mountain Time, which I think is noon our time here Eastern, where this young man is going to do an Instagram live, and it's to learn how to make four ingredient dough at home. It talks about what it is. We miss seeing your monthly dough and scratch classes. So this Saturday, I guess they used to do this in person. They're going to show you how to make dough. They tell you when. They tell you where to go to see it. They tell you what you're going to need so you can actually do it while you're doing it. And then they got some other marketing down here. This is gold. Like whoever put this together, genius. I'm going to take credit. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know them. But I love it. So market what you're going to do. Schedule them. You can market them. You can schedule a live. That way people know you're going to go live and you can market it. Let's see here. Next, we're going to go to content. So actually, let's go back to gear real quick because I want to get rid of this Amazon screen. Okay, Amazon. We all know it. Here you go. Here's the stuff you can buy. This is actually an entire kit right here for $99 that comes with a ring light, a light stand, a carrying bag, a smartphone, YouTube self-portrait studio shoot. I don't know what that even means. But you can see there's a lot of cool stuff here. You can see this little light, camera goes in between there, small tripod, $169. Here's one for $32. The one item I have, which if you're looking for mics, if I go into here and type in RODE mic, RODE shotgun mic. It's that first one. And you'll see there's a bunch of them, you know. That one's 149. That's a much bigger setup. This is one like I have. And it's $32.95. So like this one, you actually plug. I don't know how this plugs into the phone. You'll have to look at different phones. Mine plugs right into my iPhone. And I'm sure they have a bunch of different variations. So you can tell. It's not expensive. It's not hard. Huve asked a question on the live. Let's go in here and put it up. Let's go find my mouse on my computer. It's just kind of funny when you got two screens going. Huve asked, what software am I using for graphics on your video right now? Huve, I am using a product called StreamYard that allows me to do some different broadcasting differently than I've done in the past. You got to do it from a desktop, at least I think you do, and it allows me to do this. And I'm broadcasting now on Facebook, a Facebook group, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Periscope. So that's what that is. Oscar said, what are you using to mirror your screen? Oscar, I'm not sure what you're asking there. I don't know what, when you say mirror my screen, I don't know. Maybe give me a little more detail there. And by the way, as I'm saying in this, in my notes here, if you're getting some value from this, please let me know in the comments. So we talked about that. Content. We talked about marketing. Let me get rid of that screen. Start fast. So think about your video. When people tune in, when I did mine, I had a little fake thing on the beginning about my live. If you schedule them, people can come when you're going to do it, and you're going to have more of an audience up front. But if you're just going live, don't worry about who's watching now. I'm not worried about the 10, 15, 30, 40, 50 people that are watching live at any point. I'm worried about the content distribution afterwards. So when you start fast. Videos are lost in the first 6 seconds. You need to talk about right away what you're going to talk about versus going, hey, okay, let's wait for lives. Okay, we're here. And 30 seconds later, you start. You lose majority of your audience in 6 seconds of the video, as I'm going to show you in a second. So you got to start fast. During the live, if you want to, if I was a restaurant, I would be doing this. I don't do it a whole lot on mine. But you can acknowledge the audience. You can see who's talking, where they're watching from. Like I can see right now, there's a couple people watching on YouTube. There's a couple people watching on Facebook. LinkedIn doesn't show me. Nobody on Periscope. So I can look and see Facebook. Bill Herlosky said he loved the content. I can see Oscar's on here. I can see, it says Crucible. I don't know what Crucible is, but that's somebody from YouTube. Huve. I can see Huve's watching. Crucible, tell me who you are, brother. So there he is. FYI, when watch replay, you'll notice this hunting a little and going darker and lighter, and they look orange. Does your hoodie color? I don't know. I'll come back to that comment here in a second. I'm not sure what it means right now. So, okay. Content. Stay on script. Stay with some type of notes. Like you're doing a live at a restaurant, you should only have one topic. I'm kind of covering a bunch of stuff on shooting video, but if you're at a restaurant, you should be talking about one thing. Acknowledge your audience. Ask them to do something. Hey, if you're watching this on Facebook right now and you want a free MP gear kit, I'll do that. I got them over here, US only or Canada. If you want one, comment in here. I'm going to randomly pick somebody in the next 24 hours, just April 22nd right now. Comment that you want some MP swag. You'll get a hoodie, a t-shirt, some shorts, sweatpants, and an awesome binder and pin with the logo. So if you want that, let me know in the comments, and I'll make sure to hook you up. If you want, I'll pick a winner. I'll pick one. Maybe I'll do two. Maybe I'll do three. I don't know, but at least one. Depends how many comments we get. So ask your audience to do something. Contests are great. Stay online. Okay, we got that. Acknowledge it. And then afterwards. So now we're going to go afterwards. 4 things. Number 1, stats. I'm going to show you. Number 2, a nuance spotter. What is a nuance spotter? A nuance spotter is somebody that watches your videos and says, Matt, you sniff too much. You say yes too much. You say too much. You say like too much. You touch your face too much. My wife told me that one a while back. Who knows? Something that you might have a bad habit of doing. People a lot of times have filler words. I don't know if I do. I have never been told I say or like a lot. Maybe I do. But have a nuance spotter. I see on here, there we go. Some people are participating in my contest. Amir, I want some MP swag. Jerry would love some swag. So there we go. We got some people participating. So have a nuance spotter. Like I might say, hey, Doug, watch this video and see if you see any trends of things I consistently do that I need to quit doing. Know that none of us are perfect on video, and we need to have a coach or somebody that watches it. Brennan Scanlon, who was a good friend of mine, RIP brother, but he used to watch, him and I spoke a lot back from 2008 to 2013, the same places. And I would watch his speeches and I would give him feedback on things he did. I wasn't watching the content. I was watching him, his mannerisms, his voice. He did the same for me. And I remember one time he's like, Matt, you say, you know what's funny? You start sentences like that a lot. Stop doing it. So I stopped doing it, I think. Maybe. Brennan, if you're watching, let me know from above. Let's see. Download and distribute or watch your own videos at least twice. Watch your own content. Does a chef make food and not taste it? Doug, how would you feel if a chef made food and didn't taste it?
Wouldn't have a high level of confidence.
There we go. You need to be watching your content. You need to be consuming your own stuff. I always tell people, I follow two people, three to some extent, Billy Jean, Mike Arcee, and Matt Plapp. And I follow Matt Plapp because I believe in my own content, but also I want to see what I'm saying. I want to see how I'm doing it. I want to hear the words coming out of my mouth. I want to understand how maybe words I articulate wrong. Like last night I was telling my wife, I struggle with the word restaurant sometimes. It just comes out weird when I say it. I'm like, oh gosh. So watch your content. And then last but not least, download and distribute your content. YouTube, IGTV, LinkedIn, they're all free. I can download a video I do at my restaurant. I can post it on LinkedIn. I might have a different description on LinkedIn. I can post it on IGTV, which is a longer version of Instagram. You can put it a lot of places in YouTube for free. So let's talk about stats. I want to go over here and I want to show you some stuff. And I'm going to pick on these guys because they're freaking awesome. And I know that they don't mind it. But I'm going to go here and look at Fatties Smokehouse. They're a client of ours, and they do a lot of great stuff. They don't do it. Like I was telling Brian that he needs to do more video, but I understand he's busy, a lot of things going on. He's doing a video once or twice a week. You can see March 28th, April 6th, April 9th, yesterday. So a couple of things I want to point out. Number one, he doesn't spend money on these videos. And you can see 566 views yesterday, 24 hours, probably less than 24 because it was probably shot in the afternoon. They're a couple hours behind us. Right here, 992 views. Right here, 3,400 views. 960, 949, 532, 2,600, 1,100, 640, 694, 1,700. Are you seeing a trend here? They're getting a lot of eyeballs. Now, one thing I want you to keep in mind, we know all those views aren't created equal. Some of them are 1 to 2 seconds. Some of them are 20 to 30. Some of them are 5 minutes. But at the end of the day, every 1 second view counts. You know why? Because if they got a view, they saw Fatties Smokehouse. And for me, Matt Plapp, when I see graders come across my timeline on Instagram, what do you think I'm thinking about? Getting graders. I might not consume their content, but now I want Graders ice cream, which now I'm saying it out loud. I want Graders ice cream. There's one like 3 blocks that way. Might be a lunch run. Hope Doug can talk me out of it, but man, it would be great. So the eyeballs count. But also, you want to have longer views. So that's a big point. So number one, if I was a restaurant owner, and I'm actually in the works, I got a conversation today. I'm working with a restaurant owner that's going to come on board with my team ideally and help us coach restaurants from a restaurant standpoint. But another thing we're going to do is we're going to take over everything for his restaurant marketing. And one of the first things I'm going to put in place is live videos every day. Somebody there, tell the story every day, talk to your audience. It's free. Okay, next, we're going to talk about stats. So let me go here real quick because you might not know how to do this. So if you're on your Facebook page and you're an admin, which obviously you will be, you're going to have at the very top up here the button that says more, and you're going to have a button that says insights. And when you click insights, it's going to take you to a screen that shows you the insights. Now, this is important because I think if you study the stats of your page, and I'm looking on this screen because that's what I'm using, so I apologize, you're seeing the side of my head. If you go on here and you look at this, and you can look at all these things. I like to look at the posts area. And what posts does is it pulls up all of your posts, and it gives you an idea of the impact of your posts. So if I'm looking here, I can see all these different things. And what I look for is right here, type. I'm looking at video. You can see a little camera. These are posts. And then here's a video down here. And then here's a video down here. What you can look for is you can look at it and you can see what kind of impact that video had and maybe when you lost your audience or where you kept your audience the most. So I can look at these stats from this video and I can see that I've got 41 peak live viewers. That's pretty dang good. 499 minutes viewed. Think about that. In 24 hours, 500 minutes was spent on his content. That's how you sell food. That's how you get people excited. That's how you build compassion, because that's probably what he's talking about here, about a story. 1 minute video views, 112, 10-second, 246, 3-second, 566. Now, the cool part is you want to go down here to average audience retention. And when you look at your audience retention, there's two ways to look at this. Number one, you can look at it and say, hey, how did I retain my audience that was more engaged? And this button down here says only include views of 15 seconds or more. So this chart shows me my retention of people who viewed more than 15 seconds. And this is a good barrier because you want the people that had intent, because 15 seconds at least tells you they're involved. But you can see he was 100%. About 19 seconds in, he was at 98%, and then it starts going down. You can see he's losing audience. And it's going slow, though. It's not bad. And then it flatlines around 3 minutes, and then it comes up a little. Now, one thing you can also notice, if you're doing teaching videos, this is a trick that might, if you're teaching food, you can see where people rewind. Because typically when you have a down to an up, it's because like if this were to come back up again, like this went down then up, you typically can tell me if people rewound to see what you're saying. But you can look at this, and let's look at this from a standpoint that Brian kept 10% of his engaged audience for 6 minutes. If somebody watches you for 6 minutes, they are eating your food. And if you do this a lot, you get a lot of people eating your food. Now let's go here because I want to show you this. This tells a story. This is all views. And what happens is you get a lot of people that are scrolling through that count as a 3-second view because they happen to stop or they happen to just stop on it. They're going to fall off. But you can also sometimes realize that, man, I didn't get started quick enough with my content, because maybe you keep these people a little longer and you can see it flattens out. It gets down to about 25%, and it's a pretty good ride for a long time. So that's pretty cool. Now I want to show you a different video because I want to give you some insight. And this is a cool video because they did some really funny stuff making fun of that lion, what is it called? Tiger King thing. I call it lion, Tiger King. These guys do some funny stuff. And this was all shot on an iPhone. But look at this. This was April 6th, 1,500 minutes viewed, 361 minutes, 3,400 complete views. But I want to look at a couple things here. Retention. So if I go with my 15 second or more, you can see, I'm not sure why it's showing me all these now all of a sudden. Here we go. No, I want this. I can look at my blue line here, and you can see that at 44 seconds, he's got 40%. Towards the end, he's down to his 10. But you can see, compared to the other video, he had more of his audience in between here. Now, if I take off this, you're going to see that same steep decline. But you can see it's not as steep between 30 seconds. So you can a lot of times look and say, man, did I get to my point quick enough? How much time did I waste on the front end with something? How quick did somebody view? Like if I look at this video, if I go into this. So let's see how quick we get to something where I might know what's coming. So I'm at 9-10 seconds and nothing has really happened. So unless somebody has watched Tiger King or is really, really interested, you lost a lot of people.
Joe Exotic here. I'm Joe Exotic's favorite cousin. I'm in charge of getting all the beats for his part down there winning with him.
Yeah, so he's got some great stuff here. So you can see that's why they had more engagement here, because this is where some of the funniest stuff happens. So what you want to try and do is how do you get this out here farther? But if I go to my engaged here, you can see that people who watched a lot of it stuck with it. And then about 15 seconds, it started declining. So kind of figure out maybe what you can do better when you're looking at videos. And if you think you don't have time for this as a restaurant owner, you do. You owe it to your brand to every day be asking people to do business with you. And if you're asking people to do business with you, you owe it to yourself to see if it's working. And so let's go here. Let's go to audience and engagement. And so you can look in here and see your top audience. And you can see who's resonating the most. Now, they're pretty 56% women, 43% men. You can see your ages. So you know what? You can analyze who's watching the content so you can do it better. So that's all I got with regards to all this stuff. Let me unshare my screen. I hope you learned something. This was a longer video than I planned. 35 minutes. Holy crap. I didn't know it was going to be that long. But a lot of content there. And the key moment is do live video. Learn how to do live video, because live video is going to help you, because guess what you don't have to do? You don't have to edit. And it's quick and it's easy and it's free. Like this video I'm doing right now, if I were to do this recorded and then come back later, I'd be cleaning it up. I'd be adding logos. I'd be taking out things I said, times I wiped my nose, times I drank my coffee. I might do way too much, and that 30-minute video turns into 2 hours. But if you're a restaurant, 1 to 2 to 3 minute videos like this, talk about your story, talk about today's specials, talk about employees. That's a whole different video content. This one, I just wanted to show you how to do them. That's all I got. I'm out. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, comment in the post. If you're watching at this point, I want you to comment the keyword swaggerific. And I got a surprise for you, because if you're watching this far in, you're my type of person.